Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Zone Podcast. My name is Riley Davis, and with me, as always, is my lovely, amazing, and very, very happy this week co-host, Nate
How about
Cohen.
them Hoosiers, baby? What they gonna say now?
Lord,
Best football team in the country. Oh man. And I'm only being slightly facetious when I say that. We wow.
it makes the
What a
Big
week.
Ten championship way more
What a
exciting.
weekend. What a weekend, man. For many reasons.
Yeah,
That including we had
outside
a
of
little
college
we had a
football,
little Red Zone meetup
we
in
did. It was
Orlando
so
at
much
Universal.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. So obviously you saw the two of us at the end of last episode come to the epiphany that we are both going to be at Orlando at the same time. We immediately after we finished recording made plans and then confirmed those plans like an hour later and then met up with each other on Friday and
Saturday,
I guess we met each other on Saturday at Universal City Walk. Um, went to Bubba Gump Shrimp.
we sure did.
Much to my mother's chagrin.
I can't believe
In
it's
our
really
defense,
funny to me that your mom told you specifically not to bring me to Bubba Gump Shrimp,
well,
and that's where we went.
it's because my mom loves you, probably. But in our defense,
There was
bubblegum shrimp
no
was our
other place.
fifth option.
We tried like everywhere else.
Turns out, if I mean, who could have seen this coming? At Universal City Walk on a Saturday during the packed season, it's
It's
hard to
popping.
walk in to a restaurant and find a place to sit.
Really funny.
Granted, I did not expect the wait lines to be an hour at some of these places.
No, me
I
neither.
was willing to wait like 10 or 15 minutes for a
Not an
table,
hour.
but not an hour. That was not expected. Um,
But we
but
did
hey,
get to eat, which was good.
we did, and it was pretty good. It was a good lunch,
Yeah, it was. It was
and they had
solid. We got to
football on in
watch. I
there.
was gonna say we
So,
got to watch the Alabama Missouri game. There's a picture of us hunched over a phone watching in front of the
because
big
what? You
Universal
thought we were
sign.
just gonna hang out with each other? You think that the two of us hang out with each other in our spare time?
No, we
No,
don't
we just
speak.
watch football. We don't speak outside of this. This is the only
The
time we
only thing,
speak with
like,
each
it was a
other.
silent lunch other than, oh, look at that. Nice play.
And copious mentions of the Theismann, which is still in full force after this weekend.
Or in, wait, are we allowed to say in a future guest's words?
Hey man, it's your guess, not mine.
I mean, it is like the tradition of like, we don't say the guest's name
It
until,
is true. We do
but
obscure
in
our
a
guests.
future guest's words, a little bit sarcastic mostly, or you could call it the arch highs manning.
She was she was off her rocker. She she so obviously we ended up having to leave and I went to go back to hang out with my family because I suppose I had to celebrate my grandfather's 80th birthday.
What a
Um
goat.
yeah, great man. I love my grandfather. Um few, she DM'd me on Instagram, not Riley, the future guest. DM'd me on Instagram and was like the Archman Heisman is looking really good right now. And
Arch highs manning.
I was like, there's an Arch Heisman is looking really like, you gotta be serious. Like,
I mean,
no way.
they're back
Amen.
21.
Amen. All I'm gonna say is Arch Heis Manning is nowhere near as good of a name as the Theismann.
I mean, highs manning is already in the name. You're not even changing anything in the Heisman.
Well, when Ty Simpson wins the Heisman, then I don't know.
Biggest,
It,
biggest, like, not upset. I don't even know what you'd call it. Truly a shock. Like,
oh, Texas
ground,
beating
earth
Oklahoma.
shattering. No. Earth shattering shock of the year. Very not possible. Is if Arch Manning won the Heisman. Would I would literally be like,
Arch Manning.
what is
If
going
Arch
on?
Manning wins the Heisman, I will do a podcast. Okay, I'm making this declaration now. If Arch
Okay.
Manning wins the Heisman, do I want to do this in case he actually
Yes.
If Arch
If the
Manning wins the
arch
Heisman,
Heismaning becomes a
if the
thing,
Arch Heis Manning happens, I will go on to Fanatics, order myself an Auburn jersey, and wear it for a whole podcast.
Auburn jersey and a Texas hat? Question mark.
No,
Okay.
no, that's a lot of money. I'll order an Auburn
Nothing,
jersey
nothing
and I'll
Texas
wear
related
it.
for.
I'll wear an Arch Manning. No, because Arch Manning jersey, like I don't care about Texas enough. It would have to be something that like I
It'll
truly
just look
like
like all the
don't want to do.
bandwagons.
Yeah, that's why I can't. I will wear Auburn paraphernalia if Arch Manning wins the Heisman this year.
Dang. And then we'll get Jackson to
That's
send
how
you some
confident I am.
some dogs merch
Fuck
as
no.
well. Tack it
I draw
on.
the. Actually, I was gonna say I draw the line there, but I hate Auburn a lot more than I hate Georgia.
Fair enough.
We'll talk
This will
about
be
it.
like
We'll talk
icing on the
about
cake.
that dumbass football game the two of them played this weekend.
Talking about Kirby
Um,
Smart.
Lapping. Um, but yeah, overall, Orlando was a blast. Always great seeing the co-host.
You should
If you
check
haven't
it
seen
out
the
on our
reel, yeah,
Instagram.
our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube Shorts. Some person disliked the video. They hate friendship.
There's literally nothing in that video to dislike. It's literally us
People just
being like,
dislike like remember that video we put to the viewers. There's the video we posted of the two of us trying to do the Braves game vlog, which ended up going very poorly. It has like 6 dislikes. Maybe it's
why?
just people who hate the Braves.
Maybe they're like, I freaking hate, but honestly,
I hate the
our
Braves and I hate
our
them
TikTok
specifically.
isn't even like
Our TikTok gets no
pro
like
Braves.
our TikTok gets no action.
It's but like I was gonna
Um,
say that video is literally us saying like, oh, we wanted to make a baseball vlog, but the Braves suck.
they are bad. Um, but yeah, always fun hanging out in Orlando. Um, I'm
Always
a big
fun,
fan of
like we do it all the
Universal.
time.
I got I got a few things.
I
First
got
of all,
those Mickey ears in the back.
I got the bestest
He's a little
for audio
guy.
listeners. I got a little mini Yoshi, and he's so stupid and dumb and kickable, and I love him.
See,
See,
I
I don't
don't.
know what this says about me as a person, but I really like associate with video game characters that are like dumb, stupid, kickable. Like my favorite
Why
Pokemon is
would that
Fwit,
be?
probably because I'm autistic, but like not actually autistic, but
Oh Lord.
probably because and like Fuecoco is my favorite Pokemon. I also got DK Mug because I'm a
What's
massive
in it?
Mario fan. DK Spoon.
DK
And
Spoon?
then I got this cup, and you might notice that if you've been to Universal, you know what these cups are. They're the refillable cups that you use for the Coke Freestyle machines. And you might think to yourself, Nate, you fat ass, you decided to get a unlimited soda cup? Well, no.
Just
I
think
got
it's
it for
practical.
water. I got it for water, and I thought it was practical because I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this for $20 today, and then I can use it the next 2 days to get myself free water around the park, and then the amount of money that I would have spent on single waters anyway it's gonna be less. Turns out I was too trusting of Universal, and those things are 24 hours only. So when I only filled it up two times the day I got it, I spent $21 on a cup that I used for water and vitamin water. $21. It was a ripoff, and I couldn't use it the next day. It had a 24-hour grace period on it
How do they know?
because I got told. Because when I filled my water up, it was like this will expire at 1 a.m. And I was like, what the fuck? Unfortunate. I didn't even
It
like
wouldn't let you
the
fill it
design
up
isn't even
next
that
time?
good.
Halloween Horror
It's
Nights.
basic. I don't give a fuck about Halloween Horror Nights. I don't want to go see Freddy Fazbear.
Does it like scan or something?
Yeah, it has an IR chip in the bottom of it that scan. You can't use the Coke Freestyle machines at Universal if you don't have a cup that has the IR scanner in it. So, I got hosed. The moral of the story is don't trust Universal.
That's fucked.
I got fucked. Like, I legitimately got fucked.
Damn.
All I got out of that, by the way, was literally water and then vitamin water. That like zero sugar vitamin water that's like really good. Yeah, I got that and I got a normal cup of water and that was it. I didn't even get to do any of the cool like Coke Freestyle machine drinks. I can get all the drinks that I put in my fucking cup at my dining hall here. But hey, shout out zero sugar vitamin water. Peak. So
Never
it's
had it.
really good.
I mean, I think I've had the
Shout
orange
out
one actually.
shout out zero sugar and light and like sports drinks, especially Body Armor. I drink a lot of Body Armor.
Rebel.
Red Bull, whoopia.
Will be a.
By the way, we didn't get a fucking answer on whether or not Mormons exist, so I'm going to assume that they don't,
I
and
don't
that
think that was
soaking
the
also
answer.
doesn't
Especially
exist.
since BYU. Never mind. I'm not gonna spoil the
They did
rankings.
win this week.
They did.
Um, Also, I think that I apologize. We knew Mormons existed. We just didn't know if soaking was real, and because no one answered my question, I'm going to assume it's fake.
Or maybe, hear me out. We're not a big podcast with the Mormons, do you think?
No, I disagree.
Okay.
I think we're pretty
Our
much the
audience is
second coming.
solely.
I think we're pretty much. I think we're
Don't
pretty
say what
much
you're
this.
about to say, Nathan.
I think we're.
Don't do it.
I
Stop
think we're.
talking right now.
I,
Stop. This is not okay.
I think we're pretty much the second coming of the Book of Mormon. Equal importance to the religion.
No. We don't diss religions on this
We're
podcast,
not
Nathan.
dissing religions. I'm not dissing them. I'm just like, hey, Book of Mormon, great play. I haven't read the
It is
book
a good
myself,
musical.
so I can't say anything about it. So I
Although
haven't
Book
read
of
the
Mormon is not a popular play with Mormons.
I haven't seen it. So
Okay, it's
I've heard
dissing
it's good.
Mormons actually.
I haven't read the Book of Mormon proper, so I don't have an opinion on it, but I know that the Mormons love it, and I'm saying the Mormons love us. And so
All right,
I didn't say we're on the same level. I just said we're the second coming of the Book of Mormon. Sequels are rarely better than the originals.
got it.
If you're a Mormon and you listen to this podcast, give us a Book of Mormon recommendation.
Just recommend the book.
Recommend a chapter in the book for us to read.
Just one chapter.
Pick the best chapter
Mm.
for the two of us to read and we
What's
will
your
read it.
favorite chapter of the Book of Mormon? That's how we're gonna
My
open
favorite
next week. We're like, well,
we're
we've
gonna
read the
talk about it's
book.
like a book club.
We've read.
We've read the Book of Mormon and we can confidently say
How long is it? I'm
soaking
looking
isn't
this
real.
up. Do you think it
If
talks about that?
soaking if soaking isn't mentioned in the Book of Mormon, I'm gonna be forced to think that it isn't real.
I mean, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I'm not about to be like slightly political on this podcast. It's only
We are not
531 pages. Does it
that's
have
not that bad.
chapters?
We can read that in a week.
Does it have chapters? I'm looking this up. Characters?
What's your favorite character in the Book of Mormon?
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's normal to say, right? Would you say that about the
I
Bible?
would say there's
Who's your
characters
favorite
in the Bible.
character
I
in the
would say
Bible?
Jesus. I'm not.
I mean, you would say that he's the main character, yes?
I
But
would say
there's a
that I
whole
don't know
half
it.
of it without him.
I would say that I don't know enough about the Bible to say who my favorite character in it is.
I mean, half of the it takes place without him.
I'll just
So,
say Jesus because I think that's like saying that Iron Man is your favorite character in the MCU.
what's wrong with Iron Man?
Nothing's wrong with Iron Man. I'm just saying it's like it's the like if you
It's
asked
a
a
like a
basic person
solid
on this
choice.
like if you asked a basic person who doesn't know anything about the MCU on the street what their favorite character was, they'd probably say like Iron Man or like Captain America or like
Are you
the
Team Cap or
well-known
Team Iron
ones.
Man?
I'm Team Iron Man, Cap of a bitch.
Okay, thank
But
you. I
I'm
was
just saying,
like, Iron Man's justified. Like his parents got
I'm
murdered.
just saying, like Jesus Christ is like I know him. Even though I don't read the Bible and have never read the Bible, I know who Jesus Christ is.
Very true.
He was in Skate 3.
He was. There's
Jesus
hold up,
Christ.
Book of Mormon musical about the Mormons. Jesus Christ Superstar about Jesus Christ.
There's no musicals about Jews. We don't
That
got
I'm
any
not.
musicals.
Isn't Yeah, there is. Fiddler on the Roof.
Isn't that about Nazis? Oh wait, no, that's Sound of Music.
No, that's Sound of
That
Music.
that isn't about the Jewish religion. That's just about
No, it's just
like
about a
I wouldn't
family.
classify
Yes,
Sound of
I have
Music as
no
a
idea what Fiddler
Jewish.
on the Roof is about.
I don't have me neither. What
I
a
just remember
completely
from Pitch
connected
Perfect.
conversation.
I just remember from Pitch Perfect where like Fat Amy's like the DJ's club on campus, deaf Jews. And she's like, that's not a real word when they say like shalom or something. And she talks about how she did Fiddler on the Roof in high school. And
I
that's all
mean,
I
I'm
know.
pretty sure the main character of Fiddler on the Roof is Jewish, but that's kind of all I know.
There you go.
Anyway,
We haven't
rankings.
once talked about football yet.
No, we did. We talked about Arch Manning and the Heisman
Oh, so true.
and the
Now we're back.
the rankings. Can we give a round of applause to Indiana for getting first place votes in the rankings this week? We got three of them, which, in my opinion, we should have gotten more. But, the AP poll, I thought the AP poll was going to give us even more disrespect and they were going to rank us like fifth or like fourth. But, third is like probably fine. I do think we have a better resume than Miami. But, man. So obviously Ohio State, Miami stay the same. IU moves up 4 spots after just biggest win in program history against Oregon. A&M up one, Ole Miss down one, and Alabama up two, Texas Tech up two, Oregon down five, and then it's just a bunch of one-up people from last week. Notre Dame moves up 3 to 13. Oklahoma moves down 8 to 14. And by the way, Notre Dame is now knocking on the door of the last playoff seed, which shout out the Red Zone podcast for immediately saying that was going to happen after they stayed ranked after being 0-2. We were
Let's
like, they're
go.
going to make the playoffs and it's going to be dumb as hell.
Painful.
BYU moves up 3 to 15. Missouri moves down two after the loss to Alabama. Vandy up three. UVA up one. South Florida up five. And then this has to be a record for this year. Five teams enter the rankings after
I
being
know. I was
unranked
thinking about it as
previously.
well.
USC at 20, Texas at 21, Memphis was in the rankings. They move up one. Utah at 23, Cincinnati at 24, Nebraska at 25. Five teams dropped from the rankings this week. Michigan, Illinois, Arizona State, Iowa State, and Florida State. Um,
Which
get
Michigan
us
and
out.
Illinois are still getting a significant number of votes.
Yeah, Illinois is like the 26th team in the country.
Yeah.
Um, just brief mention to shouting out the AP poll for another good week. I mean, hey, there's some things I would change here and there. I think ranking Cincinnati ahead of Nebraska when they have the same record and these teams have played on a neutral site where Nebraska beat Cincinnati is objectively hilarious and also objectively wrong because, head to head matters apparently, but not here. I think it's hilarious that Notre Dame is 1 spot out of being back into the playoff picture, which is just everyone say it with me now. Brand bias. They actually did look really good this week, but that doesn't fit my narrative. So, um, Oklahoma drops 8, makes sense. Honestly, not much I'd change here other than maybe promoting IU up to 2 because I think that we have a slightly better resume than
If Texas
Miami.
loses next week in Lexington, Kentucky, do you think they fall out of the rankings again?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Just have
Do you want to say the thing that you told me before we started recording?
well, no, because you told me it was dumb.
Because it is dumb, but everyone
Because I
needs to
think
hear
it's a
it.
little ridiculous. That last week, Texas freaking lost to one of the worst teams in their conference badly. Not bad, but and then they're 21 the week after that, after beating. I mean, yes, they beat the number six team in the country. But still, I'm a little bit
Beat the
like, what
number
the
six
heck,
team in the
bro?
country.
What?
They
I
were
feel
they
like
were the
you can introduce
26th
them
team
back
in the
at
country last year.
24 or 23.
So is your issue the fact they're in the rankings or the fact that they're 21st?
They're a little higher than I would
Do you
have
think
put
they have a
them.
better res? Do you think they're a better team than Memphis?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think they're a better team than Utah?
Listen, it's the
Do you think
principle
they're a
of
better
it.
team than
It's the
Cincinnati?
principle of it.
Do you
It's
think
the
they're a better team than
principle.
Nebraska?
Then Dylan Raiola? Arch Manning, Dylan Raiola?
The gun.
A god.
The gun. I'd point it at myself if I had to pick. Um, actually, Art, we
Pick
give
a
Dylan
quarterback.
Raiola so much shit on this podcast, but he's actually been pretty good this year.
I mean, it's because it's so easy.
It is easy.
It's just the fact that he's like
Guys, don't hate on
cosplaying
us.
Patrick Mahomes.
Don't hate on us for hating Dylan Raiola. He's giving us such easy content.
He gives
What do you
everybody.
what do you what do
It's
you
like the
expect
fact
us
that he
content
like.
creators to do?
It's just weird because it's like the number, the haircut, the mannerisms, the celebrations. I'm like, do you just sit and practice being the Chiefs quarterback? It's just weird. Speaking of the Chiefs, never mind. That's not important. We don't talk about the NFL really. They had a weird game that people are upset about, which I feel like is
All I
not
saw was
not
Brian Branch
abnormal.
getting into a fight at the end of the game. He used to play at
Yeah, I saw the
Alabama.
fight. I just saw the
He used to play at
people
Alabama.
freaking out. They were like, they got zero penalties with like holding call, blah 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 blah. And I was like, well, what can you do? Isn't that how they normally like? I don't know. We don't do the NFL usually, so
We do not do the NFL usually on
no.
this podcast. Um anyway, moving on to games. Um I guess I'll start with should I start with the main event, talk about Indiana, or should I start with Alabama? Both of my teams had really good wins this week.
You can do either. I'm in
What do
pain.
you think?
I have nothing. Well, not nothing. I don't have
I'll
good
start
things
with
to say.
Alabama. Um Another great win. This is three straight weeks where they've beaten a ranked team, and I mean, yeah, you can say it didn't look pretty, but at this point, like, I don't really care. A lot of survive and advance kind of games, especially getting a win going into third Saturday in October this weekend with Tennessee. Um, I thought we played really well for stretches of this game. I thought the fourth quarter was a little hit and miss there. They almost choked their way out of winning this game. But another incredible game from Ty, who I mean, I make the joke about the Theismann, but I do think he's actually the front runner for the Heisman right now. Another great game, 23 for 31 for 200 yards and three touchdowns, including one of the best throws I've seen a quarterback make in a bit on that 4th and 8 from the 49 to Lottie Brooks, who, speaking of Lottie Brooks, was the best wide receiver we had today, 4 receptions for 58 yards. I thought he was really good. I thought they did an incredible job of stopping the run. Missouri has the leading rusher in the entirety of college football with Ahmad Hardy on their team, and we stopped him. We held him to 12 carries for 52 yards, which was really good. It was really good to see the run defense get back on it. Jam Miller, 20 carries for 85. I thought he had a really good day. And it was just another game where like they faced adversity through points, but they just kept like digging and digging and digging, and I think this is an incredibly improved team. From just week to week, you can see them fix mistakes that they made in the previous week. I think Ty Simpson is an absolute psycho, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like he's a football psycho. Like looking at his stats after the game and disappointed how he played when he was like 21, 3 for 31 for 203 touchdowns. Um, I think that I keep picking against Bama. Like I keep saying like, oh man, this is the time we lose, and then they keep winning. It's a little bit like Georgia from last year. Um, but I do think that this is on paper one of the best teams in the country when they put it all together, which they have been doing in the last few weeks. I think if they beat Tennessee on Saturday, then barring a late season collapse, I think we're almost pretty much like I would say we have a very high chance of making the playoffs if we can beat Tennessee this weekend. Um, and yeah, just in really good game. Really love what I see from the defense. Um, some issues coming out of the game with injuries. Jam Miller looks like he's going to be out with a concussion after he took a kind of nasty hit. Also, sadly, oh, I'm forgetting his name. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. Dylan Meadows. I think it's something Meadows. Took a pretty nasty hit off of a targeting call from a Missouri guy. It was like out cold immediately. He's Dylan Meadows, I think. He's going to be out for a bit, which is unfortunate. Um,
And he
but
got
yeah, I
the
thought this,
Missouri guy got this call or
yeah, Missouri guy got hit.
ejected.
Yeah. Overall, really good game. Missouri's a really tough team. I think they are legit. They are a physical football team. You can honestly make the argument they out physicaled Alabama in this game. And, if you made that argument, I would totally I wouldn't say yeah. I think there's a 100% a chance to be made to say that Missouri was the more physical team in this game, but Bama was just the more skilled. At the end of the day, they executed better. Perbula threw two pretty back-breaking interceptions, including a really bad one on the last drive to lose the game. And yeah, I think this is a team that has completely changed themselves since that Florida State loss. Um, Reinvented their identity, and yeah, just an incredibly solid football team. I really like watching them play. After they give up their court mandated touchdown on the first drive, the the defense has been pretty unstoppable. I rode behind Kane Womack last year when a lot of people were calling for him to be fired, and I would just like to get an apology because he has been very good this year. Um, and also, Ryan Grubb has been the best OC that Alabama's had since Sarkisian. Um, him and Ty have been working together really well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this team play again. Like I have a connection to this team, which is not something I was saying after week one when I thought that there was a decent chance the team went 3-9. Just an incredible change of the year. Three straight ranked wins, which is something Saban only ever did once in his tenure at Alabama. And yeah, incredibly tough game against Tennessee, but it's under the lights under Bryant Denny. They'll get a respite against South Carolina. That game being announced to being a 3:30 kick, which means Willie B is not going to have any of the aura that it usually has, which is I'm very happy about. If that was a night game, I would have seriously thought that there was a chance Bama loses. But I think I know it's kind of insane to say that the time of a game means that much,
Yeah,
but
it does.
Willie B at night compared to
It's
Willie
like
B at day is two
scary.
completely different stadiums, two completely different atmospheres. I struggle to think that the South Carolina fans will show up to the same degree they would have if that was a 7:30 night kick.
Whoa, 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 whoa. It is homecoming and it is South Carolina fans. You can never underestimate how much they show up, bro.
But it won't be the same as if it was a night game.
No,
There
because
won't
we
be the
won't have the
same
lights or
energy.
anything like that.
And
Yeah.
also, you guys will most likely be walking into that game like 3-5 or 3 and whatever
Who
you guys
freaking
will end up
knows?
being. Um, and then yeah, it's just more ranked teams for the rest of the year. Bama pretty much plays ranked teams almost throughout. But yeah, another great win. Super happy with that. Um, you want to get into your super happy, awesome game, Riley?
I literally like this isn't even like if you look at like the plays for this, it's not even like like a fun, exciting game either because it's like punt, punt, turnover on downs, punt, interception, interception, like on both ends. And so like that sucks even more. Um, but I've been saying I'm pretty sure every single freaking week now that our O-line has issues. And now change has come about with Lonnie Teasley being fired as our offensive line coach, and with Sean Elliott now, who is our run game coordinator and our tight end coach, is now our O line coach. So let's see how that goes. Who knows? One of my favorite headlines about this is that literally it said Gamecocks fire O-line coach after abysmal performance against LSU. And I think that pretty much sums it up because Lenore Sellers got sacked 5 times and got to do absolutely nothing. So I've been saying the exact same thing since week one, which is our defense, honestly, that's my shout out is this game. Is our defense looked pretty good. I mean, I think we got like th 2 or 3 interceptions from LSU. Um, two. And so like and like holding them to a lot of like field goals or like a turnover or like punting. So like that's why like our defense, has stepped it up since I've been complaining about them and like that is the shout out that I have. the complaint that I have and have consistently had is always the O line. Um, but like literally, I mean, I know that I've been saying it since week one about like not being happy with the performance and not happy that like Sellers hasn't had the proper chance to like actually make moves and actually do things or like anything. Um, so it's been not kind of, it's been a bummer to say the very least. There's really like not much else to say about this game besides like, good job, defense. You're doing your job more. O-line has been bad. And now it's like, I guess we'll wait and see what the future holds. You're coming up on not good games. You have a ranked game every single week until you play Coastal Carolina and then Clemson. And like that's also like rivalry week, you never freaking know. And it's a noon game, so it's weird. So literally like if the like this change in staff can't like make some sort of like astronomical flip, we have a very hopeless looking rest of the season if we're thinking we're gonna head into OU, Alabama, at Ole Miss. Like none of that is going to go well if you keep like the same, and then at Texas A&M. What the hell? Like none of that's gonna go well if nothing
Cocktober looking
changes.
real nasty right now.
My God, yeah, so much. I mean, honestly, like yeah, that rivalry game is gonna be sad. Us and Clemson, like, good Lord. Who knows if we'll even get a bowl game this year, bro? Like, jeez.
Low
It's like,
key, it's not looking.
no, it's looking awful. It's looking awful because it's like, oh my God. Like, having to do like a desperate change of staff. Like, I mean, a bunch of people are like firing Mike Shula next. Who knows? If the O-line starts making like some extreme changes about like performance and like Sellers has time to do things and then it just becomes a play call problem and like an offense problem overall, then I would be like, yeah, maybe. But right now I'm just like, let's see what happens with the O line. Maybe they'll get better. It's just frustrating to talk about the same thing every single week. Every single week. It's just always frustrating. And I guess now it's changed. So I don't really know what I'm gonna be talking about next week, and maybe it'll look better. But freaking ugh, gross feeling heading into the next couple weeks. And also 13 penalties. Let's do better, guys. Most or a good bit of are like false start on the offense. So I'm like, so yeah,
Cocktober off to a rough start.
yeah, really is. So I guess we'll
They'll need
see
to
how it goes. I mean, it would be like a legit miracle. I won't even lie. Like a
they'll need
legit
to
a miracle. Like
they'll need to to harden up if they want
if you're
Cocktober
like
to finish
it would
well.
be a miracle to be heading into Clemson 8-3. Miracle.
I shouldn't laugh at that. I'm 19 years old. That wasn't funny.
Miracle?
No, what I said. I said they need to
Cocktober.
harden up if they need Cocktober to reach
This
its
man's
peak.
5.
I'm 19 years old.
Apparently not.
I was a sophomore in college, man.
That's why like it's so ridiculous to me. This is my side note of like all the fans of like opposing teams. Like if we're walking by on a away game, they'll be like, "Oh, like I love the Cox," and it's like, "Yeah, man, me too." Like, okay, cool, super fun.
It is unfortunate. If I had to say I love Cox repeatedly, then I'd probably.
You don't say I love Cox. See, I go Cox.
I mean, when
There's
we were in
so many good
Orlando, we
puns
passed a
that you can
Gamecocks
make.
fan, and you guys were going Game Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you were just yelling Cox at some random dude.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not
What's crazy
saying,
when we
I'm
walk
just
through like the
saying.
tailgate area every Saturday of like all the Gamecock fans, and they'll do it. It's like you. I mean, you don't have to, but like you have to if you're in
You
the
have to
band.
Cox.
If you're in the band and someone yells game at you and you don't say anything, it's looky like get out. So like we'll just be minding our own business walking by and someone will yell and we're like, oh God. You're like, leave me be. You're the fifth person to do this today. No, but it's fine. I actually have no problem with it. But still,
Well,
I've said it, the same things every single week, which is O line. What the hell? You can't do this
yeah,
when your next games are gonna be impossible.
we'll see what happens this week. Um, Main event time, baby. Your Indiana Hoosiers walk into Autzen and take over their trap, winning 30 to 20 in a game where the scoreline is not indicative of how these two teams played, especially in the second half. Oregon really only scoring off of like the second mistake Fernando Mendoza's made all year with a really bad pass leading to a pick six. Um, Man, when I said I will be transparent on this podcast last week. I said that I thought we were going to lose close, but I did say I knew this team was going to be competitive. This is not the same team that came out last year and did not look like they belonged against Ohio State and Notre Dame. This was the best team in the country against Oregon. Like I just I'm like Fernando Mendoza. There's just too many people to like thank and like give credit to. Like everyone played well. I want to especially shout out the both lines. The offensive and defensive line. The defensive line going into this game, Dante Moore had been sacked once in 5 games. Our defensive line got to him 6 times. Comparing this to last year, they weren't able to get pressure against Will Howard. They weren't able to get pressure against Riley Leonard. Like the offensive line, especially like Rourke just was dead in the water against both those teams. And in this game, yeah, Fernando got sacked once or twice, but the offensive line was giving him time to throw, able to make his reads. I think obviously give credit to Fernando. He had an incredible game once again. Waffle House, Elijah Surratt is continuing to prove his case for why he's the best wide receiver in the country. Um, but none of this happens without the incredible play of both fronts. The D and O line were unreal against Oregon. And Autzen's a tough place to play. And I just want to give a shout out to just the whole team to their response. Last year, when they got punched in the mouth, they didn't really know how to deal with it. This year, they got knocked to the canvas. They got hit hard when it was 2020. The Mendoza threw the pick six, and what they do, they came back with a sustained drive all the way down the field for a touchdown to Surratt, and it was just incredible adjustment. Mendoza didn't let it shake him. I thought Roman Hemby was really good on the day. Ended up finishing with 19 carries for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I know that's not the most appealing stat line, but he got a lot of really good rushing gains, like whether it was the touchdowns or getting us out of trouble on third down. He was super instrumental towards the end of the game and killing clock. I thought Hemby was incredible. Obviously, Elijah Surratt, Waffle House, he's always open, probably his best game in the Indiana jersey, 8 catches for 121 and the decisive touchdown at the end. I thought Isaiah Bones Jones and Aiden Fisher were just dominant on the defensive front. Don't get me wrong, Dante Moore did not have his best game, but that was caused by the IU defense. And once again, safeties continue to be the issue. It led to Oregon's first touchdown, but we don't play a ranked team for the rest of the year. And I will be heavily shocked if this team isn't 12 and 0 walking into the Big Ten championship game. This is the best. I think this is for the money, the best team in the country at the moment. They have the best win of anyone in the country. I know last week I was talking about like, oh, there's teams where it's like, yeah, I would say they would pretty easily beat us. And like I had us on the same level as like Alabama and Georgia. I think right now there's not a single goddamn football team in the country that I don't think Indiana can beat. And that includes Ohio State, and that includes Miami, and that includes Ole Miss, and that includes Texas A&M. I don't think there's a goddamn team that Indiana can't beat right now. We are riding the best high in program history. They need to come out and look good against Michigan State. It's homecoming this weekend. I know I said that after Illinois going into Iowa and they looked kind of shitty, but that was because it was at Kinnick and bullshit happens there. And, they looked really good today, so it didn't really matter. But Michigan State's definitely a letdown game. They're not very good this year, but They are good enough to give a team fits if you don't test them. I do think we're going to end up blowing their doors off, but just as a cautionary tale. Um, and yeah, just I can't stop saying nice things. It's when I was walking around Universal with my family and like this phone in front of my face, like not really paying attention to everything. It was because of the fact that it was because I knew that this team could win. Probably during the third quarter is when I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna win this football game." Like I'll say I was a little bit more pessimistic than most of my friends going into this game just because like I knew how this team played against good team against really elite teams last year. And I knew they came out really well against Illinois and they won at Iowa, but Oregon's a completely different beast. And they came out and they played with aggression, they played with heart. They just man, like nothing I can't say about how good this team is. They're really special and I think that you can legitimately say that Indiana's a national championship contender after this, which is ridiculous to say. Like, I think we're going to end up getting a first round bye, regardless on if we win the Big Ten or not, because I think it'll probably end up being Ohio State or Indiana for the Big Ten championship game, which I will try and be there because it's only an hour away from where I go to college. Um, and yeah, just unreal football game. Just statement win, biggest win in program history. Um, yeah, how about them Hoosiers, baby? And no one can say anything now. There's not a single goddamn thing anyone can say. And I know I said that after Illinois, but Illinois has proved themselves to not be as good of a win as we thought it was at the time. I would be shocked if Oregon didn't win out. They don't play a ranked team either.
That'd be interesting.
Um,
Can you imagine that every like
I
big
swear
win
to
that y'all
God,
are supposed to have, because that was the same thing. That was the same thing with like Penn State later on in the schedule. So like Penn State is
that
no
game
longer
now
looking.
is like if we lose that game, our season's like kind of cooked.
Also,
Um,
speaking of Penn State and Indiana, Penn State did fire their coach.
oh, we forgot to talk about. Well,
Yeah,
I guess they're unranked, so we wouldn't have ended up talking about that anyway.
no, but they
Um,
fired their coach after a not good good season.
one last thing about Indiana before we go talking about everyone else. I just want to say that I do believe that this team will probably win the rest of their games this season, but I do see them maybe losing to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
I would
Um, Low key, I wouldn't be too upset if that happened because that could very selfishly here push us out of the top four and let us get a home playoff game, which I would honestly rather have us have a home playoff game than a bye because selfishly I want to go to that as a student.
hmm,
So I win either way. If we beat Ohio State, we're the overall one seed probably, and if we lose to Ohio State, we'll probably just end up getting a home playoff game. So win-win for me. Or Ohio State can collapse and win and just play Oregon again, which is also a possibility because Ohio State can't really beat Michigan
it'd be
no
like
matter how
Georgia playing
bad.
Texas and then later again in the SEC championship.
Honestly, low key, I think we would probably beat Oregon again. But yeah, we can talk about before we talk about the ranked games. Penn State lost again. We didn't even consider that as possible. Like to tell you how little of a possibility I thought that wasn't happening. I don't even think the two of us talked about Penn State playing Northwestern last week. Like I know they weren't ranked, but like we didn't even mention when they lost to UCLA. It was like I guess they have a get. Like we said that they had to win against Northwestern, but like we didn't really like. We're like, yeah, they'll beat Northwestern, but then look at the schedule they have after that. Like I thought there was a 0% chance Northwestern was going to win this game, and then lo and behold, Northwestern won. And also prayers up for Drew Aller. That's if
Oh
that
yeah,
is
I
the end of
forgot
his
about that.
if that is the end of his football career, it's certainly the end of his college career. That is just the rough. It's the worst way for him to end. Like I know we've given Aller a lot of shit on this podcast, but you never want to see someone end their career with an injury. I do hope he ends up finding work somewhere. I don't know whether or not that be in the UFL or Canadian football or maybe an NFL team picks him up, but rough way for him to end his college football career. Um, and also, I mean, Penn State's cooked now. They are. I think they're going to end up missing a bowl game at this rate, given how rough their schedule is for the rest of the year.
Well, the other thing that is related to Indiana which I don't think is very likely, but people are uh, speculating that like Kirk Cignetti would be a good choice
I
for
don't
their
think
new
he's
head
gonna
coach, but I
leave.
don't think he would do that. No, it makes, I mean, second year
Last year they
Indiana and you're already coming this far. I don't think that's just a, you'd be like, peace out.
last year they interviewed Signetti when I think there was one high profile job open. I forgot who it was. Um, but they interviewed him about going there, and he was like, "Why would I leave Bloomington?" Also, he has a contract signed until 2028. I do think he'll end up getting a raise this year. Like he definitely will get paid more, but I don't think he's going to leave Indiana. I think Matt Rule is going to end up taking that job at Penn State. He was very non-committal today when he was asked in Nebraska's press conference about whether or not he was like yeah, I love Penn State. Like they're my alma mater. Like I love all the people that work there. Like he never really like fully committed to Nebraska. I mean, he might end up staying there. This might just end up being coach speak, but I do think Rule is probably the number one candidate other than Signetti. And I don't really even think Signetti is like a big candidate. I think people are just saying that.
No,
I think
people are probably saying,
Rule is the
people are
one.
probably say like, oh, like did it with Indiana, he could probably fix Penn State, but like I don't think it's likely at all that he would end up
I don't
there.
think he's going to leave Indiana. I think Rule is probably the most likely um job at Penn State. And as I said last week, I didn't think it was going to get this bad. I didn't think they were going to fire him. I do see Franklin, if Petrino doesn't work out, going to Arkansas. It's a less stressful Power Four job. I think he can probably end up turning Arkansas around to being a 8-4, 9-3 tough team to play in the SEC. Um, but I don't know what Franklin does now. They ended up having to pay him $56 million for his buyout, which is ridiculous. I think it's the second highest a team's ever paid someone for a buyout, with the first being Jimbo Fisher at 77 million, which is just a hilarious thing to always make fun of Texas A&M for. Um, I heard scattered rumors that Adidas had a lot to do with Franklin getting fired and actually contributed a lot to the buyout fee, which would be really funny if that was true. But at the moment, that is just speculative rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. And yeah, Penn State's season is over. Um, and if I'm being honest, I think their time at the top's over. I struggle to see them. I think the best comparison would be a team like Nebraska or maybe a team like Wisconsin, who was at the top and is just experiencing a collapse. I mean, Nebraska's back in the rankings, but this is the first year they've been seriously good in like 20 something years. So I could potentially see that happening with Penn State. I think if they end up getting Matt Rule, it's going to be, they'll probably stabilize. They'll probably be like an 8, 9 win team a year kind of deal. But yeah, I James Franklin, in my opinion, is not as bad of a coach as everyone says he is, but he's very much like Mark Richt when he was at UGA. For those of you that remember the Mark Richt era of UGA, they just could never really beat good teams, but they would always like make the SEC championship game. They could just never win the big one. Like with Mark Richt, you knew what you were gonna get. You were gonna win like 10 games a year, but you weren't gonna do anything more than that. And I think Penn State with Franklin was a kind of a similar deal. But it is an end of an era. It's going to be really interesting seeing a Penn State team without James Franklin at the helm next year. That'll be an interesting case to follow. It'll also be interesting to see how recruiting goes for them, whether or not they're going to lose kind of all of their mojo they had going into this year. Because Penn State was able to get a lot of 5 stars, and I struggle to believe that that is going to be the case following this year. And now moving into the games of the week. Probably the game of the week, if we're being honest. Just Friday night bullshit over in the American Conference, as USF beats North Texas 63-36. Yeah, you heard that
Some
right.
curb
This was a
stomping.
chaotic football game. For reference, USF scored 28 points in the first 7 minutes of the third quarter.
Which is
Um,
insane.
North Texas, like they're a sneaky underrated team, and they probably would have been in the group of five conversation if they won this. But I do think with this win, USF is probably in the number one spot. And man, how interesting is this game next week? I guess a week from next, so next week, not this week of games, but next week of games, when Memphis plays USF for what is most likely going to be the group of five spot in the playoffs, regarding collapses from either of those teams or a
Now a
surge
double
from
ranked matchup if things still
yeah,
stay the same, which is
or a surge from
unexpected.
Navy. I mean, I expected Memphis to be here because I think they're always one of those group of five teams that kind of like hangs around one of the best
Well,
slots.
USF was making waves beginning of the season. Then they
Yeah,
looked a little bit
I
less,
did not expect
yeah,
USF to be up here. I
back
honestly and
again.
I expected Tulane to be further up in this battle. But yeah, it does look like right now it is a two-horse race between Memphis and USF for this final spot for the group of five. We obviously talked about Indiana, we talked about Missouri and Alabama. Um, Ohio State beats Illinois 34 to 16. Just want to say that IU beat them by more. Also, hey man, resume building. We need anything we can take at this point, given the
Yeah,
rest of our
we're not gonna
schedule is
also
as
like
bad as it
Nate
is.
going like, oh, when we were hanging out in Orlando, Nate going like Illinois needs to look better, so our win looks better too.
Yeah. And you know what sucks? Old Dominion lost this week as well. So all the praising I was doing last week about that win is now going down the gutter. Our
I mean, you
schedule,
can't even
which
help that. Can you imagine
we
if
can.
Georgia or Oregon starts like freaking
Oregon
falling
falls
off a
off, I'm
cliff?
just going to be convinced that we're cursed.
I was gonna
Because,
say the
like,
Indiana curse is like you beat
it's bad
a
luck.
big team and then it's like, ooh.
It's like, okay, who thought when Penn State lost to Oregon that we would be in this spot 2 weeks later talking about how if Indiana loses to Penn State, their season's like in the dumpster? Like,
Who freaking knows? Because
Even
Penn
after
State
Penn
was
State
like,
lost to
yeah, I was about to
Oregon,
say
even after Penn State lost to Oregon, people still probably thought Indiana was going to lose that game.
probably.
But now it's probably going to be like a 3:30 Big Ten Network kickoff. Um, but yeah, once again, or Ohio State looked good. They had a kind of slow start. I know they were winning like 20-3 at halftime, but they
Hmm.
continued to kind of not look the greatest out of the gates. They did everything they needed to do here. Sayin was good enough. Um, he's good. CJ Donaldson's good. I mean, this is just like an incredibly solid Ohio State team. They don't really have like a weakness, like a specific player type of weakness, like a safeties or the corners or the wide receivers. They are just good pretty much everywhere. They're going to be a tough team to beat come December and January when playoffs get into full force. Illinois is we know what we knew about Illinois. That win against USC last week was kind of fraudulent. Um, and as much as that kills Indiana's resume, it is true. Um, and yeah, just solid win. It on the road for Ohio State. Did what they needed to do. They don't play a ranked team for the rest of the year, so now as long as they can beat Michigan, they probably are going to be fine. They're going to make the Big Ten championship game, and everything will be good in Buckeye Land. Um, moving
Ole
on
Miss.
to Ole Miss, who last week we were talking about how Ole Miss, maybe not last week, it was after they beat LSU, how like they're shoo-ins for winning the or not winning the SEC, but like
But like in
making
the
the SEC.
top.
Yeah, like they're gonna make the SEC championship game. And then they come out here against a Washington State team, which is the last remnants of a dead conference in the Pac-12, which has been demoted. Washington has pretty much been demoted to be a group of five team now, who they were favored to win by 30, and then they were in a dogfight with them. Needed a touchdown late in the
And
game
losing
to
it two bits in this game as well. So like
yeah, needed a touchdown late to bring it back. I just I assume that these things happen. We'll really see what we know about Ole Miss this week against Georgia, but uh I I don't know what to
I'd be
say about
scared.
this because I'm just confused. Like,
I'd be confused and scared if I was an Ole Miss fan. I'm like, I'm sorry, we're about to play
but low
Georgia next
key,
week.
it's not like Georgia looked good against Auburn. We'll talk about it when we talk
No, but
about that
it's
game, but
like
I thought
they
Georgia looked
look
like
better
shit
than
for a majority of
Washington
that game.
State.
I don't think Georgia. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Georgia looked any better than Ole Miss did, but they just played a better team and they won a better game. Like in the second half, Georgia kicked it into high gear, but like in the first half, Georgia didn't look as any better than Ole Miss did against Washington State.
I know, which is why I'd be
Um,
scared if I was an Ole Miss fan.
I'd be scared if I was either of these teams. I don't know what to think going into this Ole Miss Georgia game this week. I think this is one of the most like confusing football games. Which like it wasn't going to be confusing. I thought it was going to be Ole Miss wins relatively
Like a
easily,
blowout.
not a blowout, but like Georgia's still a
But
top
like,
10 team. But like Ole
yeah,
Miss wins kind of
Steve,
similar to
like,
how
yeah,
Indiana beats Oregon.
not trying to
Like I
clutch
would
it
have
up with a
assumed it'd be
touchdown at the end.
yeah, and now going into it, I'm like, I ain't got no goddamn clue who wins UGA Ole Miss, which
What
I
is
know
even
is
the
like
matchup prediction for that game? Hold
I
on,
think UGA is favored by like 6.5.
Lord.
Anyway, just weird football game. Speaking of the other front runner for the SEC championship, they did what they needed to do. Texas A&M beat Florida 34-17. Marcel Reed continues to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country, including the SEC. Batter Aggie syndrome does not look like it is in full force this year, which is kind of insane. And I think A&M's a legitimate like national championship contender. I don't know if they're a national championship contender, but they look
But
really
SEC
good. I would say they're in
championship
the
contender for sure.
Oh, 100%. I'd be surprised if they didn't make the SEC championship at this rate. I think their schedule for the rest of the season is relatively light as well as it could be for the SEC. They play at I think it says at Arkansas, but I'm pretty sure this game's in Dallas. Oh no, it's actually in Arkansas this year. Huh. So I was wrong last week. At
Well, and then
Arkansas,
they
which
got
is
an
going to be
at LSU at Missouri back to back, which might be a little
that's
hard.
going to be
But
rough. They'll probably drop one of those, but I think they'll beat Arkansas. They'll probably beat LSU. They might lose to Missouri. They'll beat South Carolina. They'll beat Samford, and then they could beat Texas, depending on
that's
where
what I
Texas
was gonna
is.
say. Is like that's actually gonna be like never how I think the rivalry. Like in the past, it's just been like, oh yeah, little bro. But I
Well,
don't
last
think
year it
this
was
year
like,
really.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think A&M probably loses one game for the rest of the year, just
Hmm.
assuming that they drop one to LSU or Missouri, which they might not. They might beat both those teams. But I think the chance of them beating both of those teams is a lot bigger than the chance of them losing to both of those teams. But I do think they'll probably drop one of them,
Okay,
most
that's fair.
likely to Missouri, because I still really don't think LSU is that good. Um, but yeah. And then the All-State Red River Shootout, which was one of the more confusing football games of this. I think the trend of this week is just confusing football games. Texas,
Confusing
who
football
last
games that
week
resulted like five in and out of the ranking.
Texas last week looked like complete dog shit against Florida. We were riding their season off. Arch Manning looked like he was closer related to like a dog than a professional quarterback. He looked like a running back more than he looked like a quarterback. And then this week he comes out, incredibly solid performance, does what he needs to do, doesn't like isn't flashy, but doesn't make a lot of mistakes, goes 21 for
I know
27 for
21-27, yeah.
166 and a touchdown. And yeah, don't get me wrong. Texas' offense wasn't great here. They did just enough, but the real standout here was their defense, which forced John Matier into 3 interceptions. You wonder if maybe Oklahoma rushed him back from hand surgery, and he wasn't fully ready yet. I actually do think that Oklahoma probably has a better chance of winning this with their backup in, maybe than Matier. Maybe bringing him here was the wrong chance to bringing him back, but I understand wanting to beat Texas.
Hmm.
If it was me, I would have brought them. I would have brought him back for the South Carolina game, which is much less like stringent. Sorry, but like I would
I mean,
rather
their
have
defense
him
is
tune
good.
up. But yeah, I mean, yeah, but your defense is not as good as Texas's.
My other compliment to Texas is, or shout out little thing to Texas defense also just holding OU to just like two field goals in the beginning of the game and
Yeah,
then not scoring ever
I
again.
mean, this is Texas's best performance of the whole year. Also, funny
Because we were like,
stat,
oh, they're one of the frauds. And then it's like, what just happened?
funny stat for you here. This was the first time all year Texas had led against a power conference opponent. And it's week 7. But we will take a break on shitting on Texas this week because they did play really well.
Yeah,
Um, Good win for them, resets
I
their
did a little bit
season.
though.
They are still contenders for the playoffs. I think a two-loss Texas team can 100% make the playoffs if they get some of the wins at the end of the season, given that they still have UGA, they still have Texas
I was
A&M.
gonna say
It's a
an
tough,
on the road Georgia game towards the end of the season is gonna be a little rough.
hey man, apparently winning on the road at Georgia is hard, but I wouldn't know. Uh Given the last time my team played on the road at Georgia, it was pretty easy. Uh um but it is a rough schedule for the end of the year for
Someone get this
Texas
man.
as hey man, my teams are ranked 6th and 3rd in the country right now. So Um, but yeah, rough schedule for the end of the year for Texas. I do think if they win out, they are going to make the playoffs, but that's a massive if. And then moving on, Texas Tech once again, they don't really play very many good teams, but they beat the shit out of them, and I can't hate that because that's what Indiana did last year. This is still a really good Texas Tech team. Bevan Morton's still dealing with injuries, but they have a decent enough backup to get them through a lot of the issues that they might have in their current schedule. They still don't play a ranked team for the rest of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Oh wait, no, they play BYU. But if Morton is injured, you know, Arizona State this week's not easy. I know they just lost, but they're a pretty decent football team. Oklahoma State's a joke. Kansas State's a joke. So if you need to sit Morton for those, you could. And then BYU is probably going to be for control of the Big 12. Um, just another solid win from the gang. And then probably the most fucked game of the week, which I know we've said multiple times, but this was definitely the most fucked game of the week. Georgia beats Auburn 20-10 in Jordan Hare, where it seemed like Auburn got Jordan Hared in their own stadium, which let's just get this out of the way. Auburn got fucking hosed in this game by the officials. That Jackson Arnold fumble was definitely a touchdown. And if that doesn't get called back, the go into halftime most likely 17-0 instead of 10 to
See,
3.
I was gonna say the
Um,
kind of the opposite. At least maybe it was the ankle angle that I saw, but it looked like he didn't really get it, or maybe it got punched out before he like crossed the line. Oh, Nate's gone. Now he's
no, I
back.
my camera was, but I think I I do
I
think
gotta look.
and that says a lot for me to say that Auburn. I think Auburn got kind of hosed here, but I thought Jackson Arnold crossed the plane. I think that
I mean,
timeout
it is. I was
bullshit
gonna say
with Kirby
that's
Smart is
getting
some of the most.
hosed.
That's some of the dumbest shit, especially because Georgia scored 2 plays later.
Well, it's
I
especially because A,
I
they
don't
gave him
care,
back the timeout. And
which is
he's
stupid.
literally going like this. No one in their life can tell me that this is them trying to say clapping. And he's like saying like read my lips. I said clapping. And then they play a video. He's going, "I'm out." And then he says they're clapping. I was like,
I
"Hello?"
mean, incredible bullshit job from Kirby to convince the refs that he wasn't calling a timeout. But
Genuinely impressive.
hey man, Auburn got hosed, but tough shit. Maybe they shouldn't have been Auburn, and then maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe I'd care. Um, I think that Auburn got hosed. I was talking to Jackson, and I said that this Georgia team, one week will look like national championship contenders, and then next week look like the most dog shit football team you've ever seen, and there's no in between. And then this week they looked like the dog shit football team. I don't even think they looked that good in the second half. I thought they played good to fine in the second half. I think that if they play that way in the second half against Ole Miss, they'll probably end up losing. If they play like that, they played in the first half against Ole Miss, they'll definitely lose. They had up until the last drive of the second half, they had like 20 yards of total offense. Like, don't get me wrong, Gunnar Stockton played a good game in the second half. Georgia played a good game in the second half. But like this issue with this Georgia team, and it's what we've been saying for the last 2 years, is that they can't play a 60-minute game. They refuse to play a 60-minute game unless they're playing fucking Kentucky. But when they play, like when they played Bama, looked like complete shit in the first half, looked pretty good in the second half, but the damage was dealt already. If they come out in the first half against Ole Miss looking like they did against Auburn, it's going to be in a carbon copy of the Alabama game. Like, it is going to be beat for beat the same football game as it was against Alabama. Ole Miss will get out to an early lead, and then Georgia won't have time to get it back. And so, if this Georgia team, which I think is good, like last week is not a like last week wasn't a fluke. Like they can beat teams, but like I don't know, man. And I don't even like Georgia, and this team confuses the shit out of me. If I was a Georgia fan, I don't even know what I would think about this football team right now. Um, but they also have a rough schedule. They still have to play Ole Miss. They have to play Texas. They are looking down the depths of their season. I know they have one loss, but like I don't particularly know if two-loss Georgia makes the playoffs, especially considering that I don't think at that point, like it depends on who their win is against, I suppose. Um, I mean I don't two-loss Georgia probably squeaks in as the 11 or 10 seed. But it'll be really interesting to see what happens, and I do think they will probably end up losing to Ole Miss this week.
Two loss Georgia with one of those losses being the Texas game wouldn't make it, I don't think, but two loss Georgia with one the loss being the Ole Miss would. Or I mean,
But
yeah,
would they? Because I think Ole Miss is like a really good win. If their only losses are to Alabama and then a
Ole
Texas
Miss.
team, which if Tex, yeah,
If their only
uh,
losses are Alabama and Ole Miss, it'd be an
they'll
easier argument for
probably make it.
playoffs. If their
Which
losses
is
are Alabama, but then like Texas, it's kind of a reach.
if Texas is good. So if their
That's
losses are
true.
to Alabama and Texas ends up
But who
being a
freaking
good
knows what
team,
Texas is gonna do?
Texas is more bipolar than Georgia is, which is insane given that Georgia is like the most bipolar team in the country. Um,
I mean, if Texas
I
stays
don't
like
know.
20s in the like bottom five-ish in the AP poll, and like I still think a loss to Ole Miss looks better than a loss to Texas either way.
I think if Texas loses, I think if Georgia loses to Ole Miss or Texas, like it's going to kind of kill the allure of Sanford, right? Because both of these games are home. I mean, both their losses would be
I
at
mean, like
home when they
big
hadn't
ranked,
lost in
yeah.
like 30 games. I mean, Georgia, and this isn't even considering, by the way, they still have to play Georgia Tech, who, by the way, I think are low key frauds. I'm putting this out there. Oh, no, maybe not frauds, but they're not as good as everyone thinks they are. And I do think Georgia will probably win that game. But once again, if Georgia continues to do this, can't play a full 60 minutes bullshit, then they'll probably lose. Like it's the same thing we had last year about Georgia. Remember every week last year the two of us would get on this podcast and be like, Georgia can't keep doing this. And
Yeah,
then they
and then they
did,
did.
but eventually
They went
they
to
couldn't.
eight
They did
overtimes with Georgia Tech in their rivalry week game, which made no
but
sense.
But eventually, they ran into Notre Dame, who was a legitimately good team, and they got the shit stomped out of them. And I know circumstances with them playing Stockton there, but I still think they lose that game even if they have Carson Beck. Um, it, I can't believe we've spent this long talking about Georgia for a team that both of us kind of don't like very much. But they are like the most confusing team in the country, maybe other
They're
than
one of the
Texas.
most
But
present, I would say.
I would say that they're arguably more confusing than Texas because with Texas they're low key a known quality. Like we know what Texas is good at, but like every week it feels like Georgia will either be like their offense will either be really good or really bad, and there won't be an in between. So I guess main idea from that, if you are to take any main idea from that, is they can't do this continuously or it will bite them in the ass.
Be strange if like both Texas and Georgia like choked against Florida, like in the like what's
Dude,
going on?
If Georgia loses to Florida, it's season over. I think they can't afford to lose to any unranked teams for the rest of the year.
Who knows,
But
bro?
well, okay. Here's a fun little question for you. Does two-loss Georgia with one of their losses being against Florida make the playoffs? Because at that point they would have beaten Tech, they
No.
would have beaten Texas, and they would have beaten Ole Miss. That's two potentially two top 10 teams and a top 20 team. But the losses would be to a top 10 Alabama team and then a pretty shitty Florida team.
I mean, one of those losses would be a
They
top.
probably make the
Let me look
playoffs
at
at that
my.
point.
Well, hold on. Let me look at who else is in the rankings. Top 12. I mean, because that would be another. That would be a loss on Georgia Tech,
They would have
which would
beaten
like,
Tennessee.
yeah, maybe just because of
Anyway,
where they are at right now. Who knows? I mean, honestly, it could. Who freaking knows? I mean, because it
yeah, who
depends if it's
knows?
like. It depends on like how, like, convincing of a win you would probably be like. It'd come down to it, and some of those like later ranked wins, like the Texas win, if it's like a they squeak it out after like losing to Florida, that would be kind of like hard to justify sometimes on like some terms, but who freaking knows? It's
We
Georgia
should in
and Texas
theory.
that it's like who, what, why.
I think Georgia and Texas are actually pretty similar teams this year, despite the issues that Texas has had compared to Georgia. It'll be interesting to see what the playoff rankings are. Like, obviously, we can debate this, but until we get like a picture of what the playoffs look like, we're just kind of
Hmm.
grasping straws off the AP poll. Um, moving on after that long ass segment. Tennessee beat Arkansas, the new Bobby Petrino Arkansas 34 to 31. Once again, Tennessee, you don't like I see through you. they continue to like dogfight against these teams that they should probably beat. I mean, obviously we give Mississippi State their credit every week, but Arkansas is a team that is coming off of firing their coach last week and not looking particularly good against a lot of teams this year. And then they come out here, and I know that Petrino's whole thing is supposed to be offense, but they were up 34-17, and Arkansas almost brought their way back into it. I mean, Tennessee's defense sucks. It's really bad. I know we say this every week, but like they really don't have much of a defense to talk about. Um, so yeah, I mean Tennessee can't continue to do this, or they will probably lose to Alabama this week. Um, Georgia Tech beats Virginia Tech 35-20. Not a
Good
lot
job.
to mention out of this game. Virginia Tech brought it back to 21-14 at a point in time, and then Georgia Tech ran away with it. I do think this Georgia Tech team is good, but potentially won't be able to beat good teams. Like I think they'll probably end up losing to Georgia at the end of the year, and I can potentially see them losing the ACC championship game. Um,
I mean, I was gonna say, contrary to like the game we, or not the game we were just talking about, and the teams like Georgia and Texas, where we're like, oh, I have no idea what the hell you're doing. Tech has been doing exactly what we thought was gonna happen for their whole season. So, I mean,
with the
they're
exception of almost
sitting
losing to
kind of
Wake
pretty.
Forest.
Yeah, that was interesting. But
But
that I mean
like,
they
I mean,
still
they're
won.
doing enough. But
Yeah.
it's a little bit like Iowa State last year, when like Iowa State was beating all these teams, but when they started playing good teams, they lost. And I think there's a potential chance you could see this happen with Georgia Tech. It'll be
I
interesting
mean
to
they
see. It's
just
not.
beat. Never mind.
I mean, I don't really think you can give them credit for beating Virginia Tech.
No, I was gonna misspeak, but yeah, I mean, because it's um Virginia that's second in the ACC, so I mean not Virginia Tech, but um UVA. But yeah, who
I mean,
knows?
Georgia
I don't
Tech
know.
doesn't really have that hard of a schedule up until they play UGA. Like,
No,
if they continue to do what they do, they'll walk into that game 11-0.
I mean
Um,
Duke is also isn't Duke like third right now in the ACC?
yeah, but they are a little like I don't really know what to think of
Yeah,
Duke.
I mean that'd be like
Th
hard conference wise.
Potentially, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um,
But they've been chilling.
USC beat the shit out of Michigan, 31-13. The entire year, once again, another one where the entire year both of us were kind of talking about how this Michigan team was like not entirely sustainable. Um, they had
And
lost
it was
to,
true.
yeah, they lost to Oklahoma earlier in the year. And they lost again here. Just another game where Bryce Underwood did not look as good as we all thought he was going to be earlier in the year. Sadly for Michigan, their best player, Justice Haynes, got injured, which is going to really screw them over for the rest of this year. And yeah, USC just kind of ran away with it. Maivia had a really good game. Walk-on freshman King Miller had 18 carries for 158 and a touchdown,
It's
which is
crazy.
kind of surprising to see a Michigan defense give that up. But and then obviously
Crazy for a
Makai
walk
Lemon,
on as well.
yeah. And then once again, Makai Lemon is one of the top wide receivers in the country, so he does his thing. And yeah, USC just does their thing, quietly moves their way back into the rankings. Big matchup this week against Notre Dame, which I probably could see them winning,
Should be interesting.
considering, yeah, considering that Notre Dame, who like has looked pretty. I mean, we can. Oh yeah, they're literally the next game we can talk about. We can segue into talking about Notre Dame, who
Yeah,
once again, second straight week. I mean, NC State isn't very good, but they're like, if you don't
it's a
give them
solid
credit, they'll
win.
probably, yeah, if you don't give them credit, they'll play you hard. CJ Bailey is an incredibly good quarterback. Um, just yeah, like did what they needed to do. Defense finally looking like it's starting to get into its mojo. CJ Carr had probably his best game as a Notre Dame player, and if they beat USC, then I legitimately do think they have a claim to being in the rankings. Maybe not as high as they are. I think they have a claim to being where they should be now. They'll probably end up getting boosted up like 3 spots for winning, but I think if they beat USC, they are so like calmly the 13th best team in the country, probably around that area.
I'd be less upset about freaking Notre Dame 4-2. Yes, 4-2 Notre Dame being up there if they beat USC than I was at the beginning of this whole.
Yeah,
mess of them being ranked at 0 and 2.
it'll be interesting to see what happens here with Notre Dame and USC. I do think that is a incredibly good game, however, to watch. Make sure you stay out for that. And then another one, just late night hoops here between BYU and Arizona. Um, Game goes to double overtime, but hey, the Cougs found a way. The Mormons found a way. They got good quarterback play. They got good running back play. Shit, man, they are
Really
they are
soaking in a win.
pretty easily the second best team in the Big 12 behind Texas Tech. They
Damn.
got Holy War coming up this week, which is just a top 10 rival, just a top tier rivalry. It gets slept on too much. Go out of your way to watch Holy War this weekend. Um, and yeah, good win for them. I mean, obviously
I
Arizona's
made
not
a
the team they were before, but they choked this pretty bad if I'm being honest. Up 24-14 with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then BYU was able to drag their way back with a touchdown with I think it ended up being like 19 seconds left in the game. So choke from Arizona, but BYU once again showed their mettle, showed that last year wasn't a fluke. So good for them. Good job, Mormons.
I made a soaking joke and it just got ignored.
Oh, sorry. Make
I just said they
say
were
it again.
soaking in a win. It wasn't even good. I was just
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. I was in host mode there. I was trying to get all the facts out. That's a good joke. A very good joke. That gets a clap.
that gets three big booms. No.
I'm sorry to hear that your brother died. That gets five big booms. Boom.
Boom, boom, boom,
That's got to be one of
boom.
the just the most insane internet clips of the last few years.
Really. And the way that I haven't heard anything about those people in like a while.
They're
So,
probably making shit ton of money. They got like a
from what?
restaurant, they got a restaurant,
They
I
had a
think.
restaurant? What type of food do they serve?
Burger.
That doesn't surprise me. I don't know why I asked. The second it had to be a burger restaurant.
Burger.
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 Another game.
When I
Another
was a kid,
upset. Oh,
when I was a
keep
kid,
going.
I couldn't say hamburger because I couldn't pronounce my R's, so I had to say hamburger.
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 Well, I
Hamburger.
couldn't say cow, so I had to say tau.
Why can't you say cow?
I don't know. I just said tau. And instead of saying Elmo, I said Mo.
Mo.
I would point at the TV, and
Mo.
little 2-year-old me would be Mo peas.
Oh, like,
And then
yeah, I got you.
yeah, I'd be like Mo peas.
Mo
And then
peas.
my parents would bring me a bowl of peas. Just kidding. They didn't do that. But
Oh no, that could be like like it's either more peas or Elmo, please.
I don't think
Mo
at 2 years
peas.
old I was fiending for peas.
I mean,
I think I
that's what
wanted
like
to,
lot of baby
I think
food is like
I think I wanted to
peas,
eat my applesauce.
carrots,
Actually, I
peas.
probably liked peas when I was 2. I don't really have a great recollection of what I like and didn't like, given that
I
I
don't
was
either.
2. Well,
You ever had
okay,
those
I do know
go-go
that I
squeeze
do.
applesauces?
Oh my God, dude, Go-Go's when I packed my lunch,
Fire.
when I packed my lunch in like early years of high school and middle school, Go-Go squeeze was a staple.
Go-go squeeze is so
Um,
good.
dude, if Go-Go squeeze sponsored us, that'd be the dream.
You put anything, whoa, wait, let me.
I would low
Most
key. You
most
say.
food that you could put in a pouch, I'd be like, yeah, I'm down. I once saw like a venue that did like soft serve in a pouch.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
we do
just
that.
like,
We do that at the 500.
really? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, that'd be cool.
I think I definitely know of two foods I didn't like when I was a kid, and one of them was olives because I had a traumatic experience with olives, and it's probably the
Did you
reason why I don't like
choke?
them now. No, I thought they were cherries because I was a big fan of cherries as a kid, so I grabbed like a bunch of them and I put them in my mouth, and you could like see, according to my parents, you could see my brain figure out that like the three olives that I chucked in my mouth were not cherries, and then I like had a full tantrum. Like I had a full like meltdown temper tantrum that
Damn.
apparently took me like a long time to get over of I would think I was like two when that happened, two or three. So I was like a very young, but I think that's why I hate olives now.
One of my like youngest food traumas was when I like choked on a lasagna.
You choke on lasagna.
Like the cheese. The
Oh,
cheese. It was like
do you
stretched
like
and I was
lasagna
like,
now?
yeah, I think. I don't really eat lasagna that often. So maybe there's like a thought in the back of my brain that's like, you're gonna choke if you
You
eat
have an
lasagna.
aversion.
They're like, don't order the lasagna. You're gonna choke.
Don't order the lasagna. Um, yeah, speaking of football, God, football podcast, by the way.
Really?
Utah came back and just beat the shit out of Arizona State, 42 to 10.
What the
Um,
heck?
Ariz Arizona State without obviously without their quarterback, which I did not know going into this game. Um, but yeah, I mean I'm not gonna lie and said I watched a lot of this game because I think this was while I was at the park. But yeah, good game for Utah. Put themselves back into the rankings, setting up a god tier holy war, double ranked holy war. Shit's gonna be magnificent.
Yet
Um,
another upset of the week
weekly
or of
Colorado
weekend.
update. Wait, what the fuck? They won?
Please.
Edition of
I
the weekly
literally my
Colorado
exact
update.
thoughts.
I didn't like check a lot of this game, and I like randomly tuned in, and like Colorado was winning, and I was like, what the fuck? I will say though, we give Deion Sanders a lot of shit on this podcast because he ranks his children.
I was
But
gonna say at the end of us talking about this, I was just gonna be like, and Shiloh Sanders is still last.
however, he was like he had a baller response to like talking about field storming getting fined. And he was like, I don't think people should get fined for storming the field. And I was like, you know what? Type shit, Dion. I agree.
Real.
Um, good game for Colorado. Iowa State at this point is like kind of firmly out of the Big 12 conference championship race, and probably out of the chance of the playoffs, which is rough one for the team who started 5-0 and has proceeded to lose their last two straight. And then finally another upset. Pitt walks into Florida State and wins 34 to 31.
What
Uh,
the hell
the
again?
Florida State win over Alabama is even more confusing by the day, given how good Alabama is now and how
And
bad
how
Florida
bad
State
Florida
is.
State is?
I
Make it
think they're
make
gonna
sense.
fire. I think they're firing Norvell into the sun after this year is over. They've had. I think they've lost three straight at this point because they lost to
Well, the other
UVA
thing
and
he
then they
can
lost
also
to
be like, but
Miami and
I
then they
beat
lost.
Bama.
Yeah, they can, but Bama's also now a national championship contender, and Florida State is unranked.
Yeah.
So
So what the hell happened?
what the fuck happened? How did we lose to these guys? It's a really bad loss for Alabama. That's like
That's haunting.
dog shit. If Alabama hadn't beaten like five ranked team, if Alabama hadn't beaten three ranked teams this year and potentially could beat four if they win against Tennessee, I'd be so worried about this. But we have enough wins against good teams to where it doesn't really matter how bad our losses are. But this loss sucks. I don't know how the fuck we lost this. I don't know how Florida State won. This is it's just confusing.
I mean, it make it makes no sense. Why
It
can
does
no
it.
one be predictable this year?
There's like three predictable teams this year, and it's Indiana, Miami, and Ohio State. Everyone else is just kind of like, and I guess
Yeah.
A&M. Yeah, yeah. Um, but looking forward to next
Everyone
week.
else is eating olives thinking they're cherries.
Sometimes you eat an olive and it ends up being a cherry. I mean, you eat a cherry, you eat an olive, and you sometimes you go to eat a cherry and it ends up being an olive. Got there eventually.
The
Um,
title of this episode is just gonna be like olives and
sometimes you eat it
cherries.
olives and cherries. It's like berries
Olives
and
and
cream, but
cherries.
worse. Um, looking ahead to week 8, once again, just another banger week. College football this
I
year has just
know.
been
So many ranked matchups.
Louisville, Miami on Friday night. Don't skip that. That is a low-key banger game on Friday night. Expect potentially an upset of Miami here. This is probably the closest any team will get to upsetting Miami the whole year, given how dog shit their schedule is. Indiana plays Michigan State. It's homecoming for us. I predict us to cod wallop them all over the place and probably win by 60. Third Saturday in October, Alabama and Tennessee. I know that I've been doing a lot of predicting against Alabama in the last few weeks. I guess I said I thought they were going to beat Missouri and I thought they were going to beat Vandy, but I predicted them against Georgia and I said they had a pretty decent chance of losing. I'm pretty confident going into this one because I think our defense is good enough to stop Tennessee's offense. I think their defense is dog shit and our offense is good enough to exploit it. I think playing under the lights and Bryant Denny is going to have a pretty big impact. And I mean, I think this game will be close for at least one half and probably one half and a bit. But I do think Bama pulls away by the end and gets the win there. LSU versus
LSU, Vandy.
Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
really fun game. Walk with me here. I think Vandy wins.
Either way, I'm still stressing. Well, actually, no, I'm not. They both smacked us. So, I mean, either way, I don't know.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I don't think LSU's offense is very good.
I mean, and what's
So
his name? Is it Wyatt or Whit Weeks has now thrown up
who
2 weeks in
keeps
a
throwing?
row.
He keeps throwing up on the field. He needs to stop. I
No, do
can't
you
keep
know
getting
why? He says it's because he drinks too much coffee before the game. I was like, so stop.
every time I see a video on my fucking For You page on Instagram of this guy just like throwing up, it's the most disgusting shit. I hate watching people throw up,
It's not even like,
which is even worse because I've been to four Indiana games this year, and in three of them, someone's thrown up next to me. I hate throw up. That shit's so gross, and it keeps happening to me, and now I have to keep seeing it on my Instagram page because this guy won't stop drinking coffee.
well, you know what he needs to start doing is like what that Tennessee player did when they're like, he threw
Yeah,
up
I
on
know
the
what you're
field
talking. The one up
and then
against
he like
Alabama.
looked up and it went, like, that's an
Maybe he should start
intimidation.
throwing up on the opposing team.
He's got to wait till after the snap and he's just got to go, "Ugh."
What if he gets a sack and then by celebrating he throws up
He
on the
throws up.
quarterback?
He throws up on
Okay,
Diego
I have a question.
Pavia.
Okay,
He
Riley, question for
throws up.
you. If
Hmm.
Whit Weeks sacks Diego Pavia and then throws up on him, is that a taunting penalty? Is that
Because
going to
there's
get
an
called for
argument to be
unsportsmanlike
made.
conduct?
There's an argument to be made that he can't help it, but there's also like you could probably wait or like turn away.
To make a conscious decision and decide to throw up on
He's
Diego
literally like
Pavia.
in your face. Ah.
Is this no different than like spitting on someone?
You just projectile.
I need to see someone do this now. I need to know whether or not this is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
I'm so sorry. If I was ever a quarterback and I got
My
sacked
God,
by the ball, I'm fucking done. I'm
I'd
leaving.
retire.
I'd be
Retiring.
like, no.
You get sacked. And it's like you get hit hard, you get sacked. It's like already annoying, and then some guy fucking throws up on you. I'd give up. I'd quit
I'd be
football.
so done. I'm like, I'm never playing this sport again.
And imagine, okay, imagine imagine you're an offensive lineman and you're like defending against this guy. You're faced up like this. He just
Oh
throws up in
God.
your helmet.
Can you imagine this is part of their offensive coordinators on the side like Wit or defensive coordinators on the side like Wit, do it now, do it now. They're like feeding him coffee on the sideline.
Instead of the Gatorade bottles, it's just
It's
Gatorade
just
bottles of
coffee.
coffee. They're like, wait, if you throw up on them, we'll get a stop. What if he scores like a defensive touchdown and his celebration in the end zone is just
It's just to throw up.
all over the place after scoring?
This will become like their new, you know how like they throw squids on the ice in hockey? They like just all throw like fake vomit on the field. They're like, yeah.
Oh, oh, that's so gross.
No, you know the
Dude,
plastic? It's not even real. It's
yeah.
like the Lord.
What if I'm hung up on the fact of us saying that he could potentially control when he vomits. Do it on command.
Well, because you could also like if you feel like you're gonna vomit, you could be like move away or like
I wouldn't.
I mean, he doesn't
If
look
I
like
was
he
in
can.
Win
It looks pretty unexpected each
if I
time.
was in Weeks's position, I would throw up on a player to show my dominance. Dude, imagine it's like first drive of the game and he throws up on one of Vandy's offensive linemen. That's gonna fuck him for the rest of the game.
100%. It's also
Maybe that's the strat.
disgusting.
It's so disgusting.
I mean, like,
Anyway,
I mean,
I
people always talk about like they're like, why is he trying to catch it when he like
dude,
throws up? Because he literally looks like
I need to fucking see now if that's a penalty or not. I'm not gonna sleep until
throwing
I
up.
like
Well, because it's like,
throwing up on a
can you
player.
argue? Can you argue if it's purposeful or not?
Yeah, you probably can. It's probably hard to argue. If you vomit on a player, like I feel like you would have ample option unless you're like in the process of doing a football maneuver and you throw up. Like I'm okay. Walk with me. Weeks gets back on Pavia, gets up. Pavia's on the ground, and he just goes, ah. Like
That's
that's
what I was
definitely a
envisioning.
penalty.
What's
That's
worse,
definitely a
what's
penalty.
worse is like he's still on top of him after sacking him and then just like, eh.
I think it's funnier if he gets up, stands up, and then throws up on
Well,
Pavia.
because that would definitely be a
That would
penalty.
definitely be a
If he's
penalty.
still on the ground, then it's like he couldn't
Pavia's
help
like
it.
dead. Pavia gets injured, dead on the ground, and then Weeks throws up.
Ugh. I mean, we
Dude,
knew
if
that
that
Pavia was
happens,
retiring anyway, but like, damn.
couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Oh man. And as we were talking about Ole Miss, Georgia. Who even knows what's going to happen in this game? I'm not picking a winner because I refuse to be wrong about this. Texas Tech, Arizona State could be good. Um, USC, Notre Dame's
Notre
really
Dame.
good. Holy War at 8 o'clock is a must watch, and then that finishes up. Uh, I can't get out of my head. I can't get Whitwig's throwing up out of my
I
head.
also think it's hilarious. It's, oh my gosh, it's Lane Kiffin's daughter dating
Yeah, who
him.
just dates him? Yeah, we talked
I'm
about that
like,
last week.
you've watched your boyfriend throw up 2 weeks in a row. Are you not like, are you okay? Are you good, bro?
Dude, and throwing up like fucks up your teeth.
Would that give
Like
you the ick?
it would give me the ick
I'd be
if
like,
I had a, like
why'd you guys break up? Oh, he threw up too much.
I had the norovirus once.
Oh,
For those of you who don't know what the norovirus is, you just throw up for 4 days straight. Um, Unpleasant. I didn't eat food for like a week. Um, other than saltines and Powerade, but
on the
like
brat diet.
throwing up, I was on the brat diet. I was eating girl dinner every night.
Girl
Um,
dinner.
if you like you just like when you throw up, that shit like fucks up the enamel of your teeth. Like
It's
so
like
is Whit
the
Weeks.
acid,
Does Whit
right?
Weeks have like really good dental work? Because
The
this has to
veneers.
happen. Those bitches shining. Well, this podcast is going to be incredibly long. But
Yeah.
we'll leave you with a motivational quote. Sometimes you bite into an olive thinking it's a cherry, and then sometimes you just throw up from too much coffee.
I was gonna say it doesn't work in the reverse. Wait, you bite. Oh, yeah,
And you
you
bite
bite
into an
into it.
olive thinking it's a cherry,
I was gonna say the
and
reverse
then
doesn't work. You're like, oh,
you
I
bite into a
really am
cherry thinking it's an
excited to
olive.
eat this olive, and it's a cherry.
If you don't like cherries, there's something pathologically wrong with you.
I like olives and
I hate
cherries.
olives. I
The
hate olives.
olive theory. That's not even real.
Probably because of
Because of
the the
cherries.
I probably hate olives because of the trauma from when I
Cherry
was a kid.
gate.
Cherry Gate. So this week we've had Soak Gate, Cherry Gate, and Throw Up Gate.
Cute.
Cutesy,
And clapping gate.
Clap Gate, and Cock Gate. Um, well, that was a
Let us know if you think that
particularly
throwing up on another player is a
yeah.
penalty.
Answer that question in the comments if you make it this far. Um, we will be here once again next Monday to cover that week of games. And yeah, I ain't got anything else to add. Riley?
I'm good.
Well, that was certainly an episode of the Red Zone podcast that has happened. We will see you next week, guys. That was the Red Zone podcast. I'm Nate Cohen. I'm joined by Riley Davis every week on Mondays and uploaded on Tuesdays. We will see you next week, baby. Roll Tide. Go Hoosiers. We're the best
Bye.
team in the country.